So I have a confession to make. When I was on a field trip in early high school, we went to a museum. And there, they had a taxidermy coyote with a sign on it that said, "Do not touch." And I licked their coyote. I think we all have this dislike of being told not to do things. You can imagine, though, that this would only be amplified if you were, for example, a Tanzanian fisherman who's relied on one reef for your entire life, and then one day a non-profit organization from halfway around the world shows up and tells you to stop fishing there. It's not going to happen, right? But on the flip side of that, we're in the middle of a real, serious, terrifying crisis when it comes to biodiversity loss. From 1970 to 2010, a 40-year period, worldwide, we saw a 52% decline in wildlife populations. It was actually even worse in low-income areas like this, where we saw a 58% decline in wildlife populations. We need to change our behavior, and we need to do it fast. This is the focus of my dissertation work. I work in Tanzania's Zanzibar archipelago, where I want to understand why some conservation projects are wildly successful for changing people's behavior, mitigating biodiversity loss, and give us outcomes like this, while other conservation projects are wildly unsuccessful and give us outcomes like this, which aren't good for the environment and they aren't good for people. The way that I study this is with a combination of standard environmental monitoring, high-powered computing, and by actually engaging with people to understand how they're making their decisions, and never by trying to make their decisions for them. Using computer simulations, I can run through a massive number of possible scenarios for my study system and try to identify the most important factors for producing win-win solutions for both the environment, but also for local livelihoods. Given the urgency of the biodiversity crisis, remember, we saw that 58% decline in wildlife populations in these areas in that 40-year period. We need conservation that works for the environment, but also works for people. And most importantly, we need conservation that works the first time. And let me tell you, from personal experience, we're definitely not going to get there by telling people what to do or what not to do. Thank you.